What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Breaking Ultima's poison curse was a laborious effort for Velgrynd, as Carrera had previously stated. Therefore, Velgrynd built a new, split body, and released the wounded one. She did this in order to undo all of her harm. This was the essence of parallel existence. No matter how effective the killer move was, Velgrynd's power rendered it useless. This skill was not unstoppable, though. There were limitations on how it might be used. The main constraint was that 10% of the total number of magicules could only be used as collateral for each split body that was generated. This expense was for upkeep rather than consumption. The word collateral was used since she would receive the magicules back when the split body was extinguished. There was, however, a restriction on the total number of split bodies that may be produced. Velgrynd could only create a maximum of 10 split bodies. However, if Velgrynd produced 10 of them, she would run out of magicules and lose some of her combat prowess. Given that her magicules might be shared with any split body, Velgrynd reasoned that keeping at least half of them would be more efficient. She therefore limited the number of split bodies to no more than 3 or 4. There was yet one more restriction. It was caused by the split body's harm. The entire 10% of magicules would be given back if the body could be removed without problem. The amount of magicule returned, however, would be proportionally reduced if the body was harmed. This was the approach that Rimuru had in mind, and in some ways, it worked. Her magicules had decreased by 5% in this instance. By the way, less than 1% of Velgrynd's magicules had been consumed by the nuclear magic gravity collapse, which Carrera had finally activated with all of her power. That was how numerous the magicules in a true dragon were. Even though Velgrynd seemed unbeatable at first, she was not entirely immortal. Physical damage was useless, but if you progressively drained her energy, sooner or later you could knock her down. Despite the extremely low likelihood, Velgrynd had begun to consider this possibility. They could possibly beat her because they are some of the strongest individuals on this world. She may have said they posed no threat, but that was merely a ploy to lower their spirits. Velgrynd had no doubts. The 3 demon girls might prove to be Velzard's best weapon. She could defeat her sister with ease if she could persuade Testarossa and the others to fight beside her. Velgrynd once more used words of invitation as a result.
You realize, don't you? There is no use in battling anymore because, despite your best efforts, you cannot defeat me. Why don't you just submit to me right now? Just help me out a bit and I'll give you your freedom.
The offer was the greatest concession that proud Velgrynd was able to make. The 3 women, though, turned it down.
You expect me to turn on Sir Rimuru? That joke is funny.
You're actually looking down on us way too much. Demons don't breach their contracts, that much is common knowledge, right? We won't betray him just because we're losing, though.
You tell me. Undoubtedly, some demons are amenable to negotiation. Some might even simply work for their personal interests. I would never, however, betray his lordship, so you should know that.
Each of the 3 expressed their actual sentiments and simultaneously attacked Velgrynd to show their disgust. The split body of Velgrynd was instantly destroyed by these assaults when they were at their most powerful, requiring Velgrynd to use an additional 9% of her magicules. The talks had come to an end.
Okay then. That is regrettable. Gravely.
After creating a new, split body, Velgrynd murmured and smiled menacingly. The period of thrashing then started. Gazel and the others devised a strategy to attack the location where Kigali was carrying out the ritual while avoiding the gravity collapse, the blood-spattering pillar. Even the Pegasus Knights would be sucked into the gravitational waves if they came too close. Dolph, the Pegasus Knights captain, was in charge of taking the lead and being cautious in that situation. His worries were unjustified, though. Any influence on the environment had been fully suppressed by the gravity collapse, Velgrynd had maintained. The battle between Velgrynd and the demon girls appeared to have started on the ground. The red pillar was still firm in its position, though. Gazel realized this and experienced a chill down his spine. However, he did not display it and instead yelled aloud.
Although it's hard to imagine, that is Velgrynd. What else could this be except a nightmare to be able to create a clone that is on the same level as the main body? But don't worry. Know that we have great reinforcements that defy all common sense.
The knights could hear Gazel's voice. Its overwhelming and majestic presence dispelled everyone's apprehension. In actuality, Gazel was afraid. There wasn't much a saint could do in the face of such an imposing presence. The power disparity was too big for them to succeed even if they tried to fight back. He persisted, anyway. His sense of duty as a king made him stronger. More importantly, Rimuru's reinforcements were demonstrating to him that it was too soon to give up hope. Rimuru was his much-beloved younger co-disciple. The three demons Velgrynd was currently combating were inferior simply in terms of magicule count. In spite of this, they dared to challenge their opponent, who was about 100 times stronger than they were.
When I see them in that way, how am I a king to complain about anything?
Gazel swore fervently in his heart. The companions of Gazel and the knights he commanded shared this resolve. By the time they arrived at their destination, all of their fear had left them. They would travel to the battleground on the other side of the bloody pillar. A sizable force could be stationed there since it was a vast, open meadow. The ground had a blood-red smear all over it. This blood was probably that of the Empire Mixed Corps, which was engaging in shady transactions, a sign of their doom. On the ground were almost 100 people. Lieutenant Kondou was one of the men who stood out among the others because he was dressed differently. He directed his intense gaze onto Gazel, exuding a powerful presence. Along with them, Tyr, Footman, and roughly 30 more former allies of Yuki were assembled here. Additionally, there were close to 50 Imperial Guardians. They were sent in to safeguard Kigali since they didn't want anything to ruin the ritual. There were some uniformed men on Kondou's side. Some of them were also Imperial Guardians, and they all worked for the Intelligence Bureau. In other words, this was where the Empire's strongest forces were concentrated. Kigali was situated on the outer edge of the Red Pillar. She was submerged in a ritual and soaked in blood. On the sidelines, Velgrynd was keeping an eye on her. She returned to this side of the Crimson Pillar after constructing a split body on the opposite side to stop the three demon girls from messing with the spell. Even the great Velgrynd would find it difficult to cast one of the world's most potent spells with just one split body. Because of this, Velgrynd didn't seem to be planning to participate in the fight, preferring to watch it from a distance. In the sky, Gazel has confirmed the scenario. Then, calmly, he started his descent. Gazel and the others were greeted by Kondou as they touched down. Kondou remarked bluntly,
"It is a privilege to finally meet you, the renowned champion, King Gazel."
Gazel grunted while drawing his blade.
And you are?
Lieutenant Kondou, Director of the Imperial Intelligence Agency.
You are the information monster, then. Interesting. Draw your weapon now as I shall be your adversary.
Gazel could tell Kondou was powerful just by looking at him. When his ability, read thought, which he employed as soon as they came face to face, failed, he saw him as being on par with him.
Hey, he's going to be my...
Vaughn, I need you to keep your distance and look after the others. Also you guys. The only person who can handle him is me.
Gazel turned around and addressed the others who had joined this final battle. Gazel ordered, and Jane was the first to nod in accord.
That's correct. That individual is a little too much for us to handle. At the very least, let's take down the barriers so King Gazel can battle without interference.
Dolph nodded in agreement with Jane's choice.
Understood. Everyone, pay attention. Despite being outnumbered, do not underestimate our adversary's power. Gather in teams of 5 and prepare for aerial combat.
He evaluated his adversaries and issued the proper instructions. The Pegasus Knight's primary strategy was an unimpeded aerial assault. But this time, the plan was to confuse the opponent by using their increased numbers to their advantage. The Imperial Guardians and Yuki's allies were just as powerful as the Sage class. In the threat scale used by the Freedom Association, Sage level equated to Special A rank, the equivalent of an Archdemon. The people who reached this level were deserving of the title Champions, as with the right training, they could be potential Demon Lord seeds. The only time Dolph's subordinates were over A rank was when a Pegasus was present. Although some of Dolph's men were tougher than others, they didn't seem to stand a chance against him in a one-on-one battle because he was a sage. Even though Dolph couldn't see it precisely, he could feel on his skin how scary the enemy troops were. Even if the odds were better than facing Velgrynd, he thought it would not be a fair contest. That is the reason he issued the directive. Instead of destroying the adversary, the idea was to use the advantage of flight to divert them. That was Dolph's real goal, to buy time. He didn't want to be in Gazel's way. The Pegasus Knights recognized his plans and took action right away. I'll play my role and have faith in His Majesty's victory. In addition, the reinforcements will arrive shortly. Dolph had made up his mind. A happy voice confirmed it as well.
It appears that we are a little late. We had a difficult time carrying this large object because it was heavier than we anticipated. But now that we're here, don't worry. Enjoy this fight with peace of mind.
It was Gabble.
Oh, cool. That's Sir Gabble for you.
You're developing a more macho appearance. You'd better get ready because I'll follow you everywhere.
And the men of Gabble. The Hiryu members were holding a chain that connected them to a massive object. It was the Demon Colossus. It required 100 workers to transport it by air here. While the Demon Colossus had no problem waiting for opponents in the labyrinth, its enormous size was a disadvantage on the battlefield. It had amazing fighting skills, but it moved quite slowly. Its speed was so fast, though, that the issue had gone unnoticed up until this point. Gadra said passionately.
This problem needs to be improved, but now that you've brought it this far, I'll try my best.
He remarked, walking towards the Demon Colossus with a determined expression on his face. Now is the time to repay the favor. Gadra glanced in Kondou's direction before hastily averting it. He believed that he shouldn't meddle because King Gazel was dealing with him. He then turned to look at Velgrynd.
Lady Marshall was actually the Scorched Dragon Velgrynd, as it turned out. If that's the case, I fail to comprehend Damrada's motivations. He truly swore allegiance to His Majesty? Why did he feel the need to tell Bernie and Jiwoo to keep Masayuki safe? I don't comprehend. I don't, but I shouldn't be worrying about it right now. The task is over if Velgrynd moves. To make sure it doesn't happen, I'll have to keep a watch on her.
Gadra sent the Demon Colossus in the direction of the gracefully seated Velgrynd. Gazel departed with Gadra and then flied to Dolph's side.
It appears that Sir Gadra has offered to deal with Lady Velgrynd. As planned, we will get rid of those who will get in the way.
Sir Gazel, how trustworthy. Let's start working on the combined operation then.
Yes, in the fight against the enemy, my team will take the initiative while you provide support.
Understood.
Dolph and Gazel exchanged nods. The Hiryu, with their superb fighting skills, would take the initiative as was previously arranged. With their greater defensive powers, the Dragonutes would be difficult to kill. Additionally, entire potions were abundantly distributed to Gazel's team. They were a good shield since they could be revived if they died gradually.
I'll hand the command over to you now, Sir Dolph.
Wait, what?
Dolph was taken aback by Gazel's unexpected behavior.
I am Gazel, the Draco Lord. Let us fight without fear.
Gazel was worried about Dolph's actions, and he attacked one of what seemed to be Kondou's close companions. When Gobua saw Gazel, all he could do was stare. They were the last to arrive, but given that they had to run across the ground, it was unavoidable. They arrived just in time for the start of the war despite their speed being in line with their over A rank.
Hey anime fans! Episode 5 of Solo Leveling is now live on Anime Fan Narrations. Join Jinwoo's thrilling journey and watch the new episode today. Find the link in the description box.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Chad Vota, I Like Anime, Ray Perez, Chris Guzman, Havox, Speed Saber, James Waters, Arijit Das, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Justa Guy, Misael W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rossan, Byron, Jerry Sladek, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, John Charles, Godman Gaming, Akon Engok, Markithian Tidwell, Andre L. Hamilton, Adrian, Kumo, Sanketh Chelu, T. Bush, John L., Edgar Fuentes, JV, Dirty Old Hobo, Gonse Direco, Thomas, Edmund W. Edwards, J. Christ, Juan Ignacio, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Vethelny, Lunel Scarlett, Khaled, Christian Deshazer, Cal Robs, Divine C. Harris, Destiny Smith, Panda Cats, Aaron Alarcon, Monty Boy 98, D-Man, Ruben, Luis Caro, Yuki Iki, Pedro Robles, Chris Jr., Isaac, Koala King 93, Paul DeGrassi, Little 95, Coyote de Peza, Quilly Buckner, Zephyrus, Alver, Normal Defate, Vicente Baharias, Joshua Andrade, Jaya Keshav, L, Gary Miles, Nobody 0034, Dragon Spawn 666, J Rule, Sayonori, Alfredo Renteria, Liel Tiram, Liron Sangkap, Eric Tass, Christopher Mash, Ekotski, Ethan Madison, Louis Strutter, Charles Bailey, Funky Junkie 22, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Nick H, Andre Hamilton, Jason Torres, Sesh, Guy Ansley, Simon Herman Road, Emperor WSA, Mika Espinosa, George Hage, Pratik Bandari, Von Joseph, Deriha Skerte, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Tank Bailey, Gareth Hashimoto, Ankit Kumar, Steven Madison, Micah Stern, Homelike Drop, Fazli Topador, Nasir, Vasto Lord, Martin Ramos, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Chris Nelson, Karen, Mark Charlie Els, Hansel Ortega, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke, Jordan Mersha, Jay Magsino, Recru17, Bismarck Munoz, Arion Booker, Sagar Kotecha, Kamal Luke. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.